Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kishori, such uns den Vers aus für heute. We are reading from Lord Rishabdev teaching his sons. This is Canto number 5, chapter number 5, text number 28. Since we all have to learn English, I will speak in English. This is very good for all of you, so that your English will become perfect. Yes. Very important. Yeah, very good. Shukadeva Goswami said, "Thus the great well-wisher of everyone, the Supreme Lord Rishabdev, instructed his own sons. Also, they were perfectly educated and cultured. He instructed them just to set an example of how a father should instruct his sons before retiring from family life. Sannyasis who are no longer bound by fruitive activities and who have taken to devotional service after all their material desires have been vanquished, also learn by these instructions." Lord Rishabdev instructed his 100 sons, to whom the eldest, Bharata, was a very advanced devotee and a follower of Vaishnavas. In order to rule the whole world, the Lord enthroned his eldest son on the royal seat. Thereafter, also still at home, Lord Rishabdev lived like a madman, naked and with disheveled hair. Thus the Lord took the sacrificial fire within himself, and he left Brahmavarta to tour the whole world. Wow. Srila Prabhupada explains, actually the instruction given to Lord Rishabdev's sons were not exactly meant for his sons, because they were already educated and highly advanced in knowledge. Rather, these instructions were meant for sannyasis who intend to become advanced devotees. Sannyasis must abide by Lord Rishabdev's instruction while on the path of devotional service. Lord Rishabdev retired from family life and lived like a naked madman, even while still with his family. After accepting the feature of Avaduta, a great saintly person without material cares, Lord Rishabdev passed through human society like a blind, deaf, and dumb man, an idle stone, a ghost, or a madman. Also people called him such names. He remained silent and did not speak to anyone. Rishabdev began to tour through cities, villages, mines, countrysides, valleys, gardens, military camps, cow pens, the homes of cowherd men, transient hotels, hills, forests, and hermitages. Wherever he traveled, all bad elements surrounded him. Just as flies surround the body of an elephant coming from a forest. He was always being threatened, beaten, urinated upon, and spat upon. Sometimes people threw stones, stool, and dust at him. And sometimes people passed full air before him. Thus people called him many bad names and gave him a great deal of trouble. But he did not care about this, for he understood that the body is simply meant for such an end. He was situated on a spiritual platform, and being in his spiritual glory, he did not care for all the material insults. In other words, he completely understood that matter and spirit are separate. He had no bodily conception. Thus, without being angry at anyone, he walked through the whole world alone. Narottam Das Thakur says, Srila Prabhupada explains, Deha smriti nahi yada, samara bandha kahan sara. When a person fully realizes that the material body and world are temporary, he is not concerned with pains and pleasures of the body. As Sri Krishna advises in Bhagavad Gita, Martas Pashas tu Kaunteya Sitoshna Sukha Dukada Agama Payino Nityastang Stitiksha Svabharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They come from sense perception, O sign of Bharata, and one should learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. As far as Rishabdev is concerned, it has already been explained that Sidam Saridam Mama Durashbayam. He did not at all possess a material body. Therefore, he was tolerant to all the trouble offended to him. But he had elements, by the bad elements of society. Consequently, he could tolerate people throwing stool and dust upon him and beating him. His body was transcendental and consequently did not at all suffer pain. He was always situated in the spiritual bliss. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Riddesha Runjuna Tishtati Brahmayam Sarvabhutani Yantrayudani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wandering of all living entities who are situated as on a machine made of material energy. Since the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, he is in the heart of hogs and dogs also. If hogs and dogs in the material world, bodies, have a filthy places, one should not think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Paramatma feature also lives in a filthy place. Also, Lord Rishabdev was maltreated by the bad elements in society. He was not at all affected. Therefore, it is stated here, Swamahima Avashtanenu. He was situated in his own glory. He was never saddened due to being insulted. in the many ways described above. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jene Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So first thing, instruct your sons. Instructing your sons how to behave, how to do things properly, it's a natural duty. Of course, sons and daughters as well. And that's exactly what we are doing right now. Being here in Vrindavan, or maybe sometimes visiting the devotees on the internet, it is simply for giving some help and some encouragement for this long journey back to home, back to Godhead, which all of us are on. Maybe we are a little more distance or less distance, but we are all on the journey back home. And those who are not going home, they're going the other direction, they should be recovered soon, that they change their direction and come. We don't want to stay in the material world. And not staying in the material world, that depends on Krishna. Only he can give the final permission to release us. Case of Rishabdev is extreme. So extreme that one gets almost shaking. But sannyasi should not be attached to the material world in any way. Should just pray and work for the welfare of others. Or be absorbed completely in his spiritual identity, in his bhajan, in his sadhana. It's amazing that Rishabdev was the father of Bharata, and Bharata became so famous that this whole world is called Bharatavarsha, and especially Bharata Mata is the divine Devi protecting Bharata, or the land of Bharata, the land. Some people say Bharatavarsha is India, but India was much more extended. Cambodia was included, Afghanistan was included, all these areas were included. And some say that the whole world is Bharatavarsha. Anyhow, cosmology and all these plans, Surya Siddhanta, they give different informations about this. But the point is that we should instruct our children and then hand over to them the management of what has to be done. So the sons of Rishabdev, they were all very qualified. They were very fortunate. So the instructions they were given, they had been perfect because their father was actually Shakti Avesh Avatar. Rishabdev is one of the empowered people, and also the example he gave as sannyas to simply roam the world like an avaduta, caring for nothing. That is not so easy to understand and much less easy to follow through with. But if we look at the Naga Babas, they are living a very harsh life, and in a way, they are very detached from the material society, friendship and love. In India, they're called Junakar. So it is my request at this point that all the students, all those who have come to Krishna consciousness in the Vrinda Parivar and who have a deep feeling of gratefulness for Srila Prabhupada to bring us together, and who have firm faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada as the empowered agents to take us back to home, back to Godhead, to take us out of this material world. It is my ardent request to them to be very kind with everybody, like Rishabdev was with his 100 sons. So you should be very, very kind with all the other devotees. Avoid any kind of negativity. Avoid any kind of making others feel bad, even if they're disqualified. If a person is disqualified, let us encourage them. Please don't lean on the wall. Sit properly. Sit properly, not leaning on the wall. It damages the wall and damages your being awake. So our request to be kind with everybody is sum and substance. Like our Shamal Prabhu in Colombia, always looking for the welfare of everyone. Mansarova is also an example. He's always looking for the welfare and benefit of everyone. Kishori is also like that. So we have examples. We are not, of course, Srila Harijan Maharaj, whose festival is coming up now in January. He was the prime example of that, always being kind to everybody and comforting, so that people will become enthused to go on the path of devotion. It's not that easy to go onto the path of devotion. The material world is always dragging us, always pulling us. But the material world has nothing to offer. A few comforts, we try to become, oh yes, I'm the enjoyer. You're not the enjoyer. The problem is the wife wants to enjoy the husband, and the husband wants to enjoy the wife. And none of them really agree to be enjoyed. So there's always some friction. We just had a very interesting discussion here on the way in the morning with Sanatan, how in the material world we always try to make adjustments for our happiness, and it just never works out. There's always something going wrong. Of course, we can accept it as karma, and we can just continue our service. We can continue our service regardless whether we are brahmachari or we are grihasta. Mansarova. Almost. So it is really our very strong law that the Vrinda Parivar will go further, stronger and stronger, by more and more kindness. That we do everything and develop everything in the mood of kindness. Because kindness is the best way to get Srila Prabhupada's and Krishna's attention. The kindness which Srila Prabhupada gave to us is inconceivable. The kindness Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Deva Goswami Maharaj gave us, again inconceivable. The kindness we got from Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, again inconceivable. The kindness we got from Srila Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, again inconceivable. So I could give more examples, but these are the acharyas who have accompanied us. Puri Maharaj stayed in Vindakunja, Nayanananda's Babaji Maharaj stayed in Vindakunja, the God brothers. Srila Tirtha Maharaj once came and visited us here. Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj came and visited us. Recently I sent the video of his visit here, somebody sent to me. And Srila Bhakti Vaibhav Puri Goswami Maharaj, he visited all of our temples in the world, many of them. Also, Srila Bhakti Vichar Vishnu Maharaj came here to this temple many times, and Bodhain Maharaj. So you can say we are blessed by very wonderful Vaishnavas. But that's not enough. You have to become kind. You have to become so caring and kind that you will help others in spiritual life. Lift them up from the degraded material condition. The material world is degraded. And it's not a place of gentlemen. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur made it very clear. This material world is a bathroom. So you go in a bathroom, you do your business and get out. So you have a business in the bathroom, you cannot avoid it, but you're not making yourself comfortable, you're not installing a television screen and so many other things in the bathroom, because it's not the place to stay. Of course, the sannyasis of Srila Prabhupada, and as we have seen later in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, they are very often also like the heads of families. And when you're head of a family, it's a little different. But there is an element of giving up everything to only be with Krishna, to only exist for Krishna and not to care for any kind of comfort. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavina. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his mission are definitely pointing the way to get out of the material world of comfort and going into the world of devotional service, loving devotional, ecstatic service. So sometimes we wonder, well, how do we do that? Well, our temples have to be places of sadhana. Sometimes we see that people, they like to go out of the material world, but they don't like to go into the spirit. Meaning they like to live outside from all the entanglement of the material world, but when it comes getting up early, coming to classes, chanting rounds and all that, then they're becoming very negligent. And then of course they have no spiritual power. Without chanting, without hearing or giving classes, every day, not once in a while. The process is for every day. Then we get some spiritual strength. And in order to help others, you need spiritual strength. Let's take a doctor. A doctor, in order to be a good doctor, he has to know a lot about medicine. He has to know a lot about diseases. And he has to be ready to even treat bodies when they're half naked, and to give them some medicine, to apply some treatment. It's dedication. You cannot be a good doctor if you don't want to touch anybody. Just like by remote control. No. A doctor has to look in the mouth. A doctor has to look, oh, there's a wound, blood is oozing. Doctor goes there. Nobody likes that. It's not a pleasant service. But if you want to be a doctor, then you have to learn it and then you have to do it. What's the use of a doctor who doesn't come into action when there's a need for a doctor? Actually, such a doctor loses the license. I think there's a Hippocratical oath or something doctors have to make, that if you don't attend somebody in emergency, you are not a doctor. You should give up your license because you're not ready to help people when they're in need. Now apply this to a devotee. A devotee has to be a good devotee to be able to help others. If you're not a good devotee, how are you going to help others? If you don't get up in the morning, how are you going to preach to others to get up in the morning and do sadhana? And if you don't get up in the morning, then you will have no japa and you have no class. Without this philosophy, this transcendental philosophy, you just dry out. And the material anarthas will come up again. That's natural. It's the empty cup. You put out all this stupid thing and move in an ashram. But if you are not giving it full of devotional service and devotional activity, then again negative things will go into the cup. So it is our greatest aspiration that we become kind representatives of Srila Prabhupada. This is our very, very highest hope. Because we have been treated with so much kindness. Sometimes some devotees are not that kind, but they are not very happy and they are not making others very happy. Sometimes people say, I'm moving out of the temple. Why? Oh, because they're treating me badly. Oh, this is a very bad thing. Of course, it's not very intelligent to move out of a temple because somebody treats you badly. If somebody treats you badly, then you should complain about it to the local loving devotees to straighten out that person, because nobody should treat in the Vaishnava community. This is an absolute. Nobody should treat anybody else badly. But because we are in the material world, there's so many samskaras, so sometimes it happens. Oh, by the way, now I'm seeing that all our pictures have received some garland. That is very beautiful. Who has made that? Who was responsible for that? Mansarova? You put garland on all the pictures? Yeah. Oh. First, I didn't realize it. I said, but then something happened here. Something happened very beautiful. This picture of Srila Prabhupada, we should change.
Yes.
because it is so that you can hardly see him nicely. Maybe the picture can be saved, or maybe it can be exchanged with another one. So that's not. And Radharani also is beautiful garland. And all our Thakurdjis in South America, they also have garland. Very nice, very nice. That is an example which is called spontaneous devotional service. You don't do the service because somebody told you to. No, you do it because you see it and you see, wow, I like to do that service. And not only you like it, you also do it. So this is an example of spontaneous, loving, devotional service. That's what Krishna loves. When people just think, wow, some help is required. Yes, I want to be there. So the kindness between devotees is very essential. That's what I'm getting to. And Rishabdev, he was so kind that he would not even take offense from anybody. Even then they were mistreating him, he was still kind. I mean, that's an example, you know. I'm kind as long as you don't call me stupid. If you call me stupid, I say, enemy has come. Huh? Or even worse, whatever thing you do to another which makes his life more horrible, more unpalatable, we immediately consider them like, oh, they're against us. But not Rishabdev. Rishabdev saw that all the ignorant fools who were offending him, he would still preach to them by his loving example. Yes, that is the sum and substance of our class this morning, which we learned from Rishabdev. And because his son Bharata is really the greatest king, Bharatavarsha, such a wonderful king, and the long story of the life of Bharata Maharaj. So we have very good examples. Unfortunately, our leaders today in the world, very strange people. And they have created such a horrible environment that almost every day they say, oh, World War III, World War III, World War III. They're talking about it so often, almost every day, almost like they want to. They want to have World War III. So, our acharyas, they say, yes, we are at war against Maya. We are at war. Not against Lemon. Against Maya. Today, Aranya Maharaj rescued a temple in Mathura. That temple is of Krishna Balaram and has the most magic and mystical Ganesh deity inside. I don't know, almost it's a mystical Ganesh deity. And there's the Balaram Kunda. So Aranya Maharaj, a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he rescued that temple and slowly built it up, restored it. And then he came to the Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha at the time when we had the meeting in Govindaji Mandir. At that time he had a long beard. Somebody asked him, why do you have such a long beard? He said, because I'm fighting against the slaughterhouse in Mathura. And I only will cut my beard when they will close that slaughterhouse. So he was fighting against the slaughterhouse in Mathura. It's a holy dam. There should not be a slaughterhouse. It's really inappropriate. So Aranya Maharaj was coming to the Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha. He was very happy. He gave a wonderful talk there in Govindaji Mandir. And from that time on, we became associated with him and with the Krishna Balaram Mandir. And today is the Krishna Balaram festival in that mandir. So we can go right after breakfast. We can make a move there if anybody has time. Anybody wants to go there. It's a very beautiful place. It's very unique. This is like 6 lemon or something. Any question or any commentary? Anybody like to make? Yes.
Gurudeva, para Rishabdev, se podría decir que hay o sea, él tiene una realización de su estado de conciencia para desenvolverse en este mundo material y es de alguna manera mucho más fácil sortear las situaciones porque es un monje peregrino, pero cuando se permanece más en un tiempo y la convivencia pone el estado de conciencia de uno y el del otro a prueba para desarrollar esa amabilidad, ese desapego. ¿Cómo se camina hacia ese estado de conciencia? Es mi pregunta.
Very good question. You see, I was meditating as I was reading this purport. I was thinking, well, how am I going to explain that? Because I'm not living like Rishabdev in the street naked. People throw things at me. I'm not living that lifestyle. And so I was thinking, how will I explain that? We should listen and follow the instructions of our acharyas. And we should not imitate. If we imitate something, it will not last. Maybe we do that for 1 month and then we run away and forget about the whole thing. So, our spiritual teacher, Srila Prabhupada, he has said, very clear, mark my words. What will happen to us, Srila Prabhupada, after you leave this world? They asked Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada became very silent, and you could hear a pin fall. A pin, like nobody hears a pin when it falls, but that was like the devotees were like, "Ooh, what will Prabhupada say?" And Srila Prabhupada said, you, to his disciples, you will all become hippies again. Everyone went, back to be hippies? Oh no. And then Prabhupada raised his voice and he practically shouted, if you are not going to continue to preach Krishna consciousness. So that is a very clear instruction. And like I was saying, it was given shouting. Don't stop practicing and preaching Krishna consciousness. Because if you stop it, you become a hippie again. Another one of those lost souls in the world. And don't think that all souls are hypocrites. It's not true. Some of them are hypocrites. Some of them, they do one thing in the outside and then the other thing in the hiding. Yes, they're in trouble. They're in trouble because they have not brought their understanding and their activities to the same level. One thing is, I understand I should be here, but I'm still here. And in the spiritual world, we want to live without a secret life. If we have a secret life, that secret life is our Krishna conscious relationship with Krishna. That may be a little secret. But otherwise, we are not interested in secret life. So, how to make this, how to obtain the power for this step? It's only by grace. We can pray for it. And we should be humble that we have not reached there. And like, for example, Srila Prabhupada didn't ask his sannyasis to follow the example of Rishabdev. He said, no, you go in the world and you preach and you organize and you do this and that. Because we have to do something. We have to be active, engaged. Idle, what is that famous saying? Idle mind is devil's workshop. If your mind is not doing some things for Krishna, then the mind immediately goes to all kinds of stupid things in the material world. So the strange thing is when people have everything monetarily, very rich people, they become the most degraded. Simple people, rickshaw drivers and so, maybe they struggling with some material attachment, but the people who are very rich, they want to have all the most prohibited things, the most horrible things. That's attracting them. They had a pedophile ring in Brussels, abusing children. And in that pedophile ring, there were many judges, rich people from Belgium, only high-class people were part in that pedophile ring. It's like you have everything, then you get so bored, then you want to go to the lowest of the lowest. In Switzerland, they found a very rich clinic for the millionaires. And you had to pay $50 million to get cured there, only for the richest. And they would freshly kill somebody to get the organ you needed. That was included in the price. That somebody is going to be killed so that you get the organ you need. Believe it, that's what's going on. I mean, that's in Switzerland. In China, these things are going on in the jails. There was a big accusation in China, which was a yoga movement in China, which was opposed to the government's restriction. They were arrested, and they were all young, nice people were having like doing yoga exercise and so. And it says that many of them killed to take their organs. So the material world is horrible. You don't want to be here in this world. And you have to be careful. We even lost our Shakshi Gopal here in Vrindavan. And I wasn't here at that moment, but I know he went the wrong way. He associated with the wrong people. And it cost him his life. So, this material world is a very, very difficult place. Rishabdev has given us the proper instruction. Preach. Preach. Make good contacts. And Yamuna Kund, a great chance to do that, to be participating. It's a good chance if you dedicate yourself, of course Vindakunja anyway, but Yamuna Kunja also is a great place. And Radhakunda is a great place. We have great places, but they're so difficult. It's not easy. If you want to do it, you have to, you really have to go and do it and tolerate, and yes, very tough. But in a way, there's many pious people coming to Vrindavan. They also want to do good things, usually with their money. So, in Radhakunda, for example, Ladita Madhva, he gets money from people to distribute prasadam every day. He gets money from people to feed the cows. He gets money from people to feed the monkeys. He gets money from people to feed the dogs. So he's doing that. He's feeding dogs, monkeys, cows, and human beings, and having bandaras in his place. He's very busy because people want to do some pious activity. And with us they can do that also. They can help cleaning Vrindavan. They can, in whatever little service we want to do here, like Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha has been a big service. As I told you, Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha has saved the movement in Russia. It has saved Prabhupada's movement in Poland. It has saved very difficult situation in the Philippines. And many things going on. So Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha, not many people understand it fully, but it's very important. For example, go to South America. South America, there used to be military dictatorships there. And the military dictatorships, that is another story, CIA story. They joined with the Catholic Church. And they said, okay, we, the Catholic Church, give support to the dictator, but you get rid of all the other religious people. So the Hare Krishnas were in danger. In Argentina, they were prohibited. In Bolivia, they were prohibited. In Brazil, they were under attack. In Paraguay, they were prohibited. The devotees had to go practically in the underground. And in Bolivia, even today, we don't have a legal registration. So we cannot function normally.